Good evening, y'all. Hey, hey. How's everybody doing? We are back. This is, if you can believe it, the third Wednesday of January. I hope y'all enjoyed those first two episodes of 2023. We had a really good time doing that with our manses and having that conversation. It was really good. So we would love to hear what y'all thought about it. If you've seen it. If you've not seen it, go check it out because it was a really dope conversation. And I think we should pull our men into these conversations and tackle them together. It can be hard, but it was fun. We had lots of laughs, and definitely if you have other topics or things you want to bring the guys on for again, we would love to do it. So let us know in the comments, how has your 2023 started off? How's these first 3 weeks going? Are you still like on vacation? Are you slowly getting back into it? Where are you at? Because this episode today, episode 3 of 2023, is going to help you. It's going to help you along this path of making sure that you're starting off the way you intend to finish this year as well. We are talking a lot about business, so it only seems right at the beginning of the year we would talk about goal setting and planning. So before we jump into this conversation, what are your thoughts on goal setting and planning? Do you goal set? Do you plan? Do you just be like, I'm gonna wake up Monday and figure Monday out? How do you do? Were you thinking of 2023 back in October of 22? What are your thoughts and feelings on goal setting and planning? Because I know it can be a little rough and a little scary, especially for those of us that don't like to be put into boxes and our minds are not ready for it. But we're going to jump into it. We hope that this episode blesses you in one way or another and pushes that needle for you in 2023. Let's get into it, ladies. Goal setting and planning.
Child, I struggle with it. I struggle with it. Now, I'm the one that can tell you what to do with your day. I can plan your day for you. But when it comes to me and mine, it's frustrating to me. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, 2020, I'm going to start my business and I'm going to just go. I'm going to just wake up Tuesday morning, made essentially. Here we go, at the gate. I don't know what I'm doing. How am I going to contact them? When I'm going to contact people? How am I going to get in contact with people? Now, I know my ideal client. I know how many clients I want each and every month. For birth doula, for wellness. I know all of that. How I reach them. What I'm going to do. I don't know. So, if you watched the episode that was before the husband episodes, Dayna talked about like getting in tune with your cycle and all that type of stuff. You ain't seen that, go back because I got
Please
to do
do
it too. But in it, she was saying like during that time, like a flow time, you need to be like doing a brain dump. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. Because I do that with my special ed kids. First thing in the morning, we just do a brain dump. Just whatever you got on your mind, we're just going to talk about it. Just throw it all out there. And that helped a whole lot. So getting it all out, learning how to plan. Now it's just like putting things into action. That's what I'm struggling with now. So y'all pray my strength. We're going to get it together. New year, new Dree. We're going to be better.
I love that. So yeah, I know for me, back in November, I had my Q1 already together. So I already was strategizing what do I want, 2023 to look like for me. But honestly and truthfully, I will say, as difficult as it is to like set those goals and stick to those goals, I will say first and foremost, get yourself some accountability for those goals that you set. So if you know that you are not going to keep yourself accountable, you might need to get outside sources to keep you accountable. That is why people hire, I know everybody is a coach now, right? And everybody's hearing more about coaches and things like that. But that's why people hire people like coaches. That's why people, do community building things. I know in our business, right, there's a reason why we, maybe meet with our teams once a week or once every other week, because it helps to refocus yourself back on those goals, because it might not be something that you're self-driven to do. So I know for me, I don't know if we've talked a little bit about the 4 tendencies, but I am an obliger. So an obliger will show up for other people more than they'll necessarily show up for themselves. But I'm an upholder that leans to, I'm a obliger that leads to upholder. So an upholder will keep themselves accountable and they'll keep other people accountable. So depending on what it is when it comes to goals that I'm setting, I can be self-driven and self-directed. So you need to first and foremost identify in yourself, okay, what type of accountability will I actually resonate with? Whereas on the flip side, like my husband, he's a rebel. So he doesn't want nobody outside telling him what to do, when to do, how to do it. So he has to put things in place that, again, are going to keep him accountable. And it can't be like me, or it can't be like, so you have to first and foremost really, really know yourself and know what things you're actually going to stick with. Okay. Because if not, none of what we're talking about today is even going to matter. Right? Because you're gonna be like, "Oh, girl, that's so good. Yep, I need to do that. They told me to do that," and then you're gonna walk away and you're gonna do the same thing and be in the same cycle.
Yeah.
So important to first identify.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Both ladies touched on a piece that I was like, you gotta have like big. First and foremost, like Dayna said, is self-awareness. Where are you lacking? Like we all have some kind of lack somewhere. One way or another, there are things that we don't do well, things that we do amazing. So find that buddy. I think that that's important. Buddy system, like whatever it is, I have to wholeheartedly agree, because for me, that was my shift, was becoming self-aware of the little nuances of the words that I would use that was like, lack of better word, playing victim about why I didn't do something or why I did do something, like, well, I need to go and make a post about whatever. But that's from a place of just like, I haven't done it, but I got to go do it. And in those spaces for me, everything is rushed. Everything is just like not feeling it. But I know when, like Dayna's saying, you have accountability, whether it's a spouse, if you can deal with the spouse getting at you. My husband does not do that effectively, so he cannot be. He cannot be my sister, because I'll be looking at him like, you don't leave me alone. But whatever that is, I love that within our communities, there are lots of ways that we can lean on. I know I've done accountability sessions with Dayna. We've done, courses specific to Young Living, and that kind of accountability where you meet up once a week, twice a week is amazing. And I think that it keeps you on track. So I have to agree. The very first thing to have in all of this is some self-awareness and understand, the things that you do, and then definitely go back and watch the cycle video. I don't remember what episode. I'll put it in the comments, and at least the title. YouTube link will go there too, so you can find it. But because you'll understand then how you're feeling and when's a good time to do like Dayna said. Back in November, she's going back 2 months at this point, and she's already like, Q1 of 2023 is, I know what I'm doing. And it's funny because I just did a whole dump about 2 weeks ago, and I have content going into like the summer, just because I was in that space in my cycle where everything was like, yo, this is good. This sounds good. Let me do this. And so, digging deep and asking yourself those hard questions and having that self-awareness, I think is definitely the number one place that you have to start. Or like Dayna said, none of this is going to make sense. It's going to be like, if you've set a weight loss goal and you ain't been to the gym, not now one of these 3 weeks, it's going to be set and it's going to be forgotten. And then come summer, you'll be like, all right, well, I'll restart now because the kids are out of school, or I'm going to be on vacation. So yeah, definitely for me too, number one would be self-awareness.
Now, y'all heard how she said that she met up with Dayna and we all in the same group. I'm trying to figure out how y'all getting together, accountability and all this type of stuff. I feel some
when
type
we
of way.
did game plan. Did you do game plan?
I feel some type of way. I wasn't there.
I think I remember you being in game plan.
I don't get invited to nothing. Y'all see this? Y'all see? I think it's favoritism.
I'm talking about in the daggone game plan, girl.
Oh, okay. We did that. Okay.
See,
Okay.
listen now.
Okay.
Try to call us up.
Edit that, Mr. Editor Man. Edit that.
The other thing that I will just add to, I think that is super, super important is when you talk about goals and when you kind of think about where you want to go and what that looks like. And a lot of times we use that framework. If you've been in business of any type, you've heard this before, is SMART goals. And when we talk about SMART goals, the reason that that can be super, super powerful is, especially if you're in business and maybe like, so for me, there was a period where I didn't check my numbers. And the reason I didn't check my numbers is because I'm very compulsive. So it's like, it would cause me to show up differently to people, right? Because I'm like, why she only order 100?
Yeah.
You about to get sick because I know you ain't ordering all what you need to just be healthy if you only order 100, you know, like, and then it was all of this like energetic judgment that I was putting on other people when I'd be in conversation, or I wouldn't want to have conversation with them, but it's my subconscious that's like angry. And so I will say with that factor, me and my husband decided that, I mean, obviously you can't run a business and not look at your numbers, right? So he would take on some of those certain responsibilities in order for me to know then where I need to focus, right? So if I know that in retrospect, this leg is like sleeping, right? Like, then I know, okay, who should I care on right now? Who should I give attention to? Where do I need to focus my education on, right? Because in our industry, they're wellness products, right?
Yeah.
So if you're drinking Ninja Red every day, you need to buy it every month, right? But if you're not drinking it, I know that you're going to fall under the wellness line. I know you're not getting all of this, but people aren't going to do that unless they're educated. So then work on the things you can control. So for example, if you are a business owner, you're saying, hey, my goal is I want to bring in 10K a month, right? Well, you can't physically force somebody to spend money at your business establishment and make sure that you get 10K. But you can work backwards into looking at, okay, well, what can I control? I can control how much education I put out there. I can control how many people I invite to something. I can control, you know, what subjects I'm talking about when I'm doing it. And one thing that we learned in Game Plan is numbers, right? So when you kind of break down numbers statistically, right? If you have, you know, 10 people that you're talking to, even if you're an amateur, you're going to get maybe 1 or 2, right? And then your odds change when it comes to getting, you know, brand partners and things like that. But if you know your metrics from what you can control, then you're going to yield results, right? But you cannot control maybe if you hit a certain rank. You can't control how much income is coming into your business, but you can control your marketing. You can control how you show up. You can control certain things. And so that kind of helps you dictate, what do my goals look like, right? What am I focusing on? Because so many times I hear people focus on stuff and I'm like, you ain't got no control over that. So you're going to be upset at the end of the month when you ain't hit that because you couldn't make that happen, not as one person. So I do think it's super, super important to make sure that our goals are aligned with something that we can actually do on our own.
Yes, I was gonna say as well, because you mentioned SMART. I didn't. If you hopefully everybody, I'm saying, does everybody know? Like I'm sitting here in a conference call. Help me, Jesus. I lost my train of thought, y'all.
So our SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Does that help?
Yeah, but I don't even know where I was. Anyway, those were definitely the SMART goals. And I think for me, all yes to what Dayna said. I think this is where you're gonna find people are on one side, either people who have find 2 people in your life, one that's still working and one that is really great with. I know Dayna is amazing with Dayna brought out that 365-day content calendar or something. First time she put that little PDF in the group chat, I was like, no, she didn't. Who's gonna fill this out? But I love that kind of, I've never been, I think we've talked about it in another episode. It took me a long time to get to a place where I was okay with, and yes, I said okay with having like an actual planner. Now I have too many because I got to find the one that works for me. But because it felt like, I can kind of, I don't think I'm a rebel, but I can understand where Dana's husband's coming from. I don't need no calendar telling me what I'm supposed to do. Because for me, it was about failure though. Until I changed how I felt about failure, I felt like if I wrote it down to be completed by Friday and didn't complete it on Friday, it didn't matter all the small things that I did achieve Monday through Thursday. It just was that big thing. Friday, I failed. Like I did not have whatever my goal was set for Friday. And so I was like, I don't want to know. Like Dayna with numbers, I don't even want to look at it. Like I'm just going to go willy-nilly. And if I don't make it, I don't make it. But at least I didn't verbalize it or write it down and, put it in stone. And now I have to look at this big, ugly blemish. But I think a lot of it was because of, like Dayna mentioned with the SMART goals, is I was doing things that were not aligned with, one, the things that I can control, and two, what my whole purpose was for being whatever that season is. It might change, and maybe you're like, well, what my dream is for my business is not the same as it was in 2022. It's not supposed to be. Like when I first started, how I approach my business now is totally different. Like my goal for showing up and serving is very different. But if you're setting goals that have nothing to do with that, or you don't even know why you're showing up, you're going to have those moments of failure that stick with you that you can't overcome. And then you do the micro quitting until the summer. And so if you have to go back to have those specific goals that align with you, that are SMART, make sure you're understanding what is your purpose. Why are you here serving? Why are and it doesn't matter what you're doing. Like you can be a hairstylist, a makeup artist, in network marketing. There's a reason why you do what you do. And do you know why you're here? Because if you don't, you're going to be doing a lot of uncontrollable things because you're just running around trying to make it. So that was big for me, I sit down at the end of every year and I'm like, okay, this is it. And I say every year, but this was really back in November. I sat down and was like, how are we showing up? But for me right now, my dream and my goals and the way I'm serving is still the same. Just it's elevating. So I know why I'm here. And now I can move forward with, at that point, setting my goals for, the first 90 days of the year.
Do y'all think that's a cultural thing though? Like, do we actually just sit down and just plan? Like I said at the beginning of my business, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna start a business and I'm just go. Is that embedded and rooted in our culture? Oh, she had to take a sip of her drink. Let me see.
I definitely feel like, I don't know if I can blank statement say it's a cultural thing, but I do feel like for our culture, most of the time when we go into business, it's because we have a passion or a pain for something. And so then we want to share that with others. And while that's noble and a beautiful thing, we have zero business skills, right? So we go into it like excited and we're like, oh, we can make this money and we can do this and we can do that. But we've been programmed from birth to be employees. We've been programmed from birth to, I hate to say it like this, but serve other people, right? So even if we go back into our culture, right, all of the jobs generally, and it wasn't really a job, we were forced to do it, was in service to someone else, right? Whether that was housekeeping, whether that was in the fields or whatever it was. And so even though we flip that to then having professions with it, when you look at our culture, generally, where are we? We're in service-based business, or not businesses, but service-based jobs, right? So I do think culturally, because you have that embedded in you, then it's like, okay, well, if I'm working for somebody, I don't really have to set goals per se, because I just need to show up and I need to be a cog and operate the way they want me to operate every single day, the way they want me to show up every single day. I don't really have to think about it once I leave, right? Like their revenue and their goals, they're kind of their thing, and I fall into place accordingly. So then now when we say, okay, but now I'm in this entrepreneur space, now you want me to set goals. Now we got to go back to basics, because that's not something that, to me, at least, I would say we were probably taught.
I like how you said that.
I was just saying, I like how you said that, because I started out, I'm gonna go do it. I know what I want to do, because it was my business came from pain. I wasn't supported in my birth. And so I wanted to be that person for other people. But child, I ain't got no business sense. I don't know what I'm doing. And like you said, I expect somebody, but working for somebody else, what I need to do is already laid out for me. And now I'm the boss, and I got to rely on myself. And I'm like, girl, what we gonna do today? Because I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna I had to grab some oils to make sure, like Dayna said, I don't want to say, make sure I articulate this in the right way, and not get off topic, because that's definitely a conversation for a whole other day. I could probably take up some time, but like Dayna said, I agree wholeheartedly. I don't necessarily know if it's like a culture, like if we're saying that's what we're breeding. It's just there is nowhere down way back when. There's no old money. Let's put it like that. There's no old money to people of color in America that was grown. Like maybe they were in a situation from way back when where they had a really good relationship with the family and they were given something, and what they did, I don't know those people. So if you one of them peoples and you watch them, we'd love to hear what you're doing with that old money. But I just don't think it's not there, right? And so like Dayna said, there's no knowledge, whereas like there are plenty of, I don't know, has anybody seen the series? It's not on anymore, but I think it's Dynasty. It was on the CW, and we watched that. And as trifling as that family was to each other, it's still a very good example of where this came down from grandfather to father to children. And while along the way it got muddy, there's still like a traceable source of this is how things are done. This is what you do. And obviously, you know how generational stuff happens. You do your own thing and you mess it up. But there is still that story is being handed down, right? We don't have those stories. There aren't people and for those Black people of color that are running successful businesses, what do? We hold it to our chest. We don't want to tell people. We want to give you just enough that you follow behind me and yap at my heels, but I don't want to tell you because I don't want to bring anybody else to the table, or like it's a coveted secret. And I think, like I said, not to get way off base, is like we have to be more willing to hand those stories down and change that narrative from, go and do it for somebody else and make somebody else rich and famous. And here, this is how you got to do it, right? We got to be more willing to, when you have that sauce, if you will, you have to be willing to tell those stories. And we don't have that traceable, go back however many years where there was somebody that was like, this is what you do. There's no path. Like we're reading books and you're having to get it from other places. So I agree with that. I don't necessarily know if it's cultural. It's just the typecast, the setting, if you will.
And I will say, just to add to that, so the first African-American billionaire here in this country, in America, didn't happen until 1998. Okay, so again, right. Like, I hope not, because I was born in 85. No. So again, just kind of thinking about that, right? Now it's like, it's kind of cool because I think about my kids' generation. So now they're like, oh, we popping billionaires, now like it's, going out of style. So it's a beautiful thing that we're seeing it, but understand that it's something that's more modern and it's something that's more new. And so I do feel like baseline then, what other settings do you set goals? And so there is going to be a mentality shift that has to happen for us to get to that point. Unfortunately, the most successful entrepreneurs, they are the artists, they are the linchpins, they are the creatives, they are the innovators. They're the ones that did not have a blueprint and said, this is where the holes are, and I'm going to create something. And if we always have that mentality that we're waiting for somebody to set up our systems, or we're waiting for somebody to show us how to do it, then we're never going to be successful. So we have to take a step back and really, really take seriously, like, goal setting, realistic stuff. Where can we go and what can we do and grow upon it? Another thing that I did just want to highlight, and I would love to hear you guys' opinions on it as well, is, and I do think sometimes this can be cultural, but I do believe when you set goals, whether they're small, whether they're large, celebrating those goals. So do you guys celebrate when you hit certain milestones and goals, whether they're small, big, and what does that look like for you guys?
I do it all. When I fail, I celebrate. And that was something that I had to do to acknowledge it, because we talked about this in another episode, and don't make me pretend like I know which one it was, but we talked about just that negative failure has like this beacon of negativity around it. I know in our generation, like, an F was like that scarlet letter. You're walking around with it. It was shameful. Like, how dare you fail? And so that was something that I was like, you can't fail. You can't fail. I remember, and this just came to me, Lord have mercy, when I interviewed. So I was up for a basketball scholarship at Columbia College in Columbia, South Carolina. And I am a, go figure, talkative person. Like, I can write my butt off. I can write a paragraph, a speech, but you ask me to do stupid math or multiple choice, I'm not going to do well. And so I've never tested that. If you don't allow me to think it out, I'm not going to test what I can tell you that. And so part of me being able to get accepted into that college, is an all girls college, was I had to go have an interview with, I don't remember, the head of something, because my testing wasn't their caliber of testing. And I remember being asked, like, they were basically wanting to know how you would deal in situations and what you would do with adversity. And I remember telling this lady, failing is not an option. Failing is not an option. I refuse to fail. And now when I think back, I'm like, how toxic. But I remember the look on her face was like, yes, say it again. And they're known for producing Fortune 500 women in business. But now I'm like, how toxic, because I was saying it like, no matter what happens, I'm not going to fail. And honey, since I've started this business, I have failed, and failed some more. But it has brought me to the successes. And it's being able to be in that permanent, magical place of gratitude of, if I hadn't fallen flat and created 90 million pages that I didn't need and just wasted all that energy, I wouldn't have found, this one place that I belong, and this one system that I thrive in, if I hadn't have tried the other, 900. So I celebrate them both. And it just depends on what the situation is, or if it's a major one, like one that was like long-term and I broke it down into chunks and was chugging away and then was like, bam, this is the big thing. It might be like, I'm going away. And, or it's little things, just like, I'm eating the whole cake, y'all. Or I'm going to the restaurant, right? It's just whatever is like, for me, it's a vibe. I say everything's a vibe for me, but it's like, what feels great about the situation. You know what? Yo, I just hit this. I just brought in $10,000 for the month. It was a massive goal for me. We're going to go eat this place, or whatever the case may be. But it's just all about, like, heart vibes for me. What feels great in that moment. I don't care what it is. Like if it's a big splurge and somebody's like, why would you do that for a goal? It just felt right. So that's why I do. Failures and success, I'm going to celebrate it.
I celebrate internally, whether it's a failure or success, because I've always been taught, no, girl, don't tell everybody your business. Everybody don't need to know that. So yeah, for me, it's a cultural thing because I don't want Pookie and Nuck around the corner to know my business. And if they want to know my business, they need to buy into my product to see what I'm selling so that they can get the same success that I got. I know that's not the way to be. I'm learning. I'm growing. So, yeah.
I wouldn't necessarily say that's not the way to go, but I do have a question for you. What do you believe that you gain by not celebrating those things or by keeping people from being in your business? What exactly do you gain? Where's the positive part of that?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I mean, I'm by myself with it. And that's why I say I'm learning. I'm coming out of it slowly but surely. 2023 is the year to come out of it because I know that's not. And then I get frustrated when I can't reach people that I want to reach because I'm just more reserved and laid back and just don't want to share with nobody.
Do you have boundaries?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
No.
What makes a little more sense? Yeah, I think that's a boundaries thing. Because I mean, I think we've all can agree that you're supposed to be humble, right? Don't boast because you're supposed to be humble. But
and I think too, it comes from, well, they gonna think I'm too much. They gonna think that I'm trying to be better than them, or just say that, oh, look at me, look at this new shiny thing that I have. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna tell nobody because I don't want her to think that I'm trying to be better than her or just show off.
Now you care about everybody else with your success.
And I guess my question would be, has somebody come to you and said, you're too much, you're bragging, you're showing off? Has someone actually said those things to you?
Yes, they have. Like, why you gotta tell what you doing? Don't nobody needs to know all of that. Yeah, it comes.
Are those successful people in life?
Girl, no.
Well, that's about them then. It bothers them to see your success, so they don't want to see it because it reminds them of whatever they got going on. But you can't. Dayna already said it. You can't control that.
That makes sense. I mean, I know it. Growth is the word for 2023.
Dayna, how do you celebrate?
Yeah, so I will say for me, celebration is hard. So I am very much a perfectionist. I'm very much, my husband always says I constantly move the goalposts. So he'll be like, I thought we was just supposed to get here. And it's like, I pause, but then I'm like, but if I got here, I can go here. And I can do this and I can do that. And so I think that's definitely something I can work better on. But I am very much a words of affirmation. So I'm gonna be on my socials. If you are my page, this is me. And when I achieve something, everybody and their mama that follows me, is connected to me, you're gonna know about it. I'm not about to hide my business, what I'm doing. If it offends you, it's a beautiful thing called unfollow. You can mute me, you can unfollow me. A lot of times I honestly and truthfully don't accept a lot of friendships on my socials, but it's open. All my stuff is open. All my stuff is public. Anybody can come in, come out, do what they want to do. So I'm not going to hold back my celebrations. I'm not going to hold back this is what I've achieved because I know how hard I've worked. And for me, I hope and pray that it inspires other people to be like, well, if she can do it with this challenge, this challenge, this challenge, I know I can do it too. And so I feel like if I hold back that celebration, if I hold back some of those good things, I could be actually harming other people because they could be doing the same thing, or they could be getting out of a situation that isn't, the best for them, but they just don't know how.
Yeah, that's facts. I'm not going to say, Andriana, I can understand where you're coming from because I have been in that place. of like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say. It was more or less of what I wasn't so much worried. I think we kind of touched on it when we had our husbands on, or Angelo touched on it anyway. It wasn't so much people. I'm private, so there will be things that I will never do just because I just, I don't want the outside opinion. So if I don't want your opinion, I'm not gonna put it out there. But it was more like, I don't want somebody coming at me like, well, I just saw that your team did so let me get. That was more why I didn't share. But that was when I lacked the boundaries of being like, this is what I'm doing for me. Like having the boundaries that actually are about me and not about what I'm doing for somebody else. So I definitely understand, that piece, but it is, so you don't get to celebrate. Like, you put in hard work, and I know on all these episodes you've talked about a lot about your struggles and things that you want to do better for your business. And if you achieve that, that should be something that you go stand out on the roof and holler for all of Arkansas to hear. Like, and if y'all don't like it, oh well. I know that can be, I mean, nobody wants to intentionally make somebody feel bad, but that's, like Dayna said again, that's a piece you can't control. Like, they come at you, hey, you shooting the business. Well, you can do this too. Let me help you. Now you got a business builder. Like, you got to, turn that thing around. But I have a question for y'all. So how do y'all feel? Because this goes along, like goal setting. How do y'all feel and how do y'all handle setting those big, massive goals? I know there are people that are afraid, that will be like, this is the goal that I have, but they won't write it down. They won't try. They won't do, as we talked about with like SMART goals, and Dayna was saying, break them down, have the bite-sized pieces of it. People won't set these massive goals because we hear a lot, like Dayna said, coaches are a big thing now, but there are some coaches that teach, don't set, that's too big, come down. So then people are shrinking themselves and they're not setting these goals, and they're just setting goals that make them feel good. How do y'all feel about setting big, massive goals? And if you do set big, like 2-year, it's going to take a lot of planning and time goals, how do you go about chugging your way to get to that big dream goal?
For me, now we all three do Young Living. So my goal rank in Young Living, and I can just die happy, is platinum. That's where I want to be. I want to be a platinum. We all know the monthly income. If you don't, I'll put the link in the comments for you. But I'm saying, I want to be platinum by December 2023. Well, I can't do that sitting at star and not keep doing what I'm doing now, because that has been a goal of mine since starting my business. That's where I want to be. That's where I see myself. And for me, since linking up with y'all too, I've learned to set those bite-sized goals to get there. I'm doing the self-development. I have a coach. I'm attending weekly calls and all this type of stuff. I'm more engaged with my team. So I could do that. But it took me a minute to set the goal of, okay, this time you're going to meet with your team. This time you're going to set aside time for yourself. This time you're going to do this. So it took me a minute. It took me a long minute to get there, but I'm here. I'm here.
I will say I'm similar. So like when people ask, like for me, I'm like, oh, I want to impact the whole world. Right. Yeah. Like, so my brain thinks big first. The the issue I have more, okay, but let's be realistic, Dayna, and I need you specific. Okay. So that specific part of SMART goals sometimes is a challenge for me, because I have these massive goals and I don't have a problem doing the things to move me towards those goals. And so I think for me, it's getting that big set goal and then saying, okay, if this is what I want to do within a year, what can I do within a month? What can I do within a week? What can I do within this day? What can I accomplish that will then move the needle to getting to that closer? It's funny too to hear Andriana talk about like the ranks, because my brain says income. So I think from the standpoint of a business owner. So for me, it's like silver 10,000 a month, right? It go 35,000 a month, like 100,000 a month. Like in my brain, I don't necessarily think like I'm thinking, okay, if I was working a brick and mortar business or any other type of business, I would know that I'm growing or I'm becoming more successful by the amount of income that's coming into my business. And so again, breaking that down. So if I'm saying I want to bring in 100,000 a month, okay, well, what does that look like?
Yeah.
What does that look like a day? What is that then effort you need to put out?
I love that. That's a good point, Dayna. Anybody in not just network marketing, but she said specific, Andriana. You gotta be specific about that, because you can be a platinum and not make what I'm assuming you're thinking of is that high end, which is like I think anybody could land there and be like, I can do this. But you gotta remember there's a low end. So there are people that their structure is off. So you gotta be specific about your platinum, not just platinum because God may be like, okay, you platinum, but you ain't tell me how much you want to make as a platinum. Yeah, very specific. I love that. I love both of what you said, and both of you ladies, perfect way to do that. Because I'm like you, Dayna. I know we all kind of just like on the same wheel. I think massively, and it's like this is what I want to do. So, but I don't ever think it took a long time to get to that point where you're like, okay, well, if I want to take over the world, what can I do today? These 24 hours, what can be done in this time to get to that point where, I'm standing on top of that globe. I absolutely love that. Would love to hear in the comments, do y'all set massive goals? Do you set those life-changing goals? Are you afraid? And what is a life-changing goal for you right now? What is a goal that you have for your business that would be life-changing for you and your family? And remember that it doesn't have to be, let it be real. I want to say that because a lot of times we say, well, let me think what she's trying to say or what somebody else going to put in the comments. Who cares? Life-changing for you could be buying a 1-bedroom apartment. And if that is life-changing for you, that is life-changing for you. That's what you're trying to do. So I would love to know what your goals are for 2023. What is that one big goal that you have for 2023 for you and your business? Where do you see yourself? We'll say December 1st of 2023. I'm going to write it down. We're going to check in with y'all. Just whatever that Wednesday is. Check in with y'all and see how did you fare? What did you do? What are the steps that you took? So drop in the comments. What is a goal? What's a life-changing goal that you have for your business in 2023? So we hope that was a little bit helpful. That is a massive, massive topic. We could probably put together a webinar and have like a whole hour and a half, 2-hour session about, goal planning and goal setting and year. So that's something y'all be interested in. Put it in the comments and that might sway us to be able to put something together for y'all. Because it's hard. It's really hard to do in, the time frame that we try to be respectful of your time during these episodes. But that's something everybody would be interested in. I would love to know. Seriously, for real, as the kids say, for real. And we might be able to make that shake for you guys before we get too deep into these first 90 days. All right, y'all. It's been real. It's been a long one. I hope, again, this really helped you, and we will see you next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 Central for another episode that you're not going to want to miss. If this is your first time catching us, grab that YouTube link in the comments and go check out our previous episodes and share, because we would love to reach as many women in business that need and, a benefit from the support. All right, y'all. Till next Wednesday.